About a personal matter possibly related to the whole Brexit business. We've heard time and again on this programme about the importance of the Irish border and the understanding in the Good Friday Agreement that there would be no checks or controls. Another commitment made by the British government in the Belfast Agreement was that people in Northern Ireland could choose to be British or Irish or both. Well, joining me now is a campaigner from Derry, Emma de Souza, who has taken the Home Office to court twice successfully to assert that right and won both times, but the Home Office is appealing against the judgment, insisting that because she was born in the UK, she is legally a British citizen and must be treated as such. And she's with me now. Now, Emma de Souza, this is not actually directly about you, it's about your husband, who's an American, right?
Yes, in a way, you would think it was about my husband being American, but when we went through the process, it actually turned out it had nothing to do with him, and it was all about my citizenship.
So now just explain this to me. You're born in Northern Ireland, which means you have the right to British citizenship. You haven't claimed it. You've chosen to identify as Irish, which is perfectly legal. And your husband wants to come and live with you in the UK, is that right?
Yes, right. That's correct.
Okay, if you were a British citizen, would he be able to come?
Yes, he would, and the process would be much simpler, and it would have been over and done with in 6 months. Yet because I exerted an Irish citizenship, it's now taken 3 years.
And what is the Home Office saying? I mean, what's the reason for that? Because, you know, as we know, we have freedom of movement between Ireland and the UK and
yes,
rights to vote and all the rest of it.
I mean, if I was to have been born half an hour down the road, this would have been much simpler. But because I was born in Northern Ireland, the Home Office is insisting that the people of Northern Ireland are British, first and foremost. So because they're classing me as a British citizen, that means that I'm a dual citizen and I can't avail of EU rights.
I see. But that would actually apply to everybody living in Northern Ireland.
Exactly. Yes, so they're saying that not only me, but all the people of Northern Ireland are first and foremost British, which in itself goes completely against the Good Friday Agreement.
And are there other examples that you know of with people with their spouses?
Yes, there are many of us going through quite a devastating and stressful time trying to get through the system as Irish citizens.
And where is the direction for this coming from? Because, as far as I understand it, it's not official government policy, as it were.
Yes, I mean, they're relying on the British Nationality Act, 1981, which states that all the people born within the UK are British by birth. Now, this act was not altered after the Good Friday Agreement, and really it should have been to account for the unique status of the people of Northern Ireland. And what they're saying is that the British Nationality Act supersedes the Good Friday Agreement. And what we're saying is, well, no, the Good Friday Agreement is an international treaty between two sovereign countries, and it has more weight than the British Nationality Act. And that's the whole basis of the case.
So where is your husband now?
Oh, he's at home.
He's at home, so,
yes.
So he's here.
Yeah, we're quite grateful and thankful that we get to stay together through the process. But I mean, we had no freedom of movement for 2 years. We couldn't leave the country. He couldn't work. He couldn't drive. It was absolutely just being stuck in limbo and being able to do nothing.
I mean, I fully understand the complications of the bureaucracy, but at root, this is about you wanting to make a political point about your identity, isn't it?
No, it's not political in a way, because it started with me just going to a solicitor and saying, hey, so I'm an Irish citizen, and we decided we want to stay here, and I want to go through the process. We went through the legal routes from the very beginning. I didn't have any idea about the intricacies of the Good Friday Agreement or the British Nationality Act 3 years ago. I was just a person wanting to stay and be Irish. I hadn't really ever considered myself not to be anything other than that.
And you're here with some Sinn Féin politicians, is that right?
Yes, I have been quite fortunate to have the support of them through this process now for about 18 months. Prior to that, we were just waiting through the system like everybody else. We kind of thought maybe this was a clerical error because it was a bit crazy to see a government body telling me that I didn't have the right to just be Irish.
So you've won 2 stages in the legal process. Where does it go now?
Yes. So the first time we won, the judge stated that choosing nationality is the birthright of the people of Northern Ireland. Therefore, nationality cannot be imposed upon them at birth. He found me to be an Irish citizen only, and I've only ever been such. The Home Office appealed this. And the second judge then said there was no grounds for an appeal because there was no error in law made. The Home Office have since now lodged a further appeal. So we've been in the system for 3 years, and we're actually going back to court in a little over a month.
So this will be what, the Supreme Court is going to?
No, we're actually still in tribunals. They've appealed to the upper tribunal now. And interestingly, recently when there was a report that 75% of Home Office decisions were being appealed, overturned on appeal, sorry, the Home Office stated that they carefully consider all appeals and will only pursue if they think there has been a material error in law made. So if you take that statement, it would appear the Home Office thinks that the Good Friday Agreement and citizen rights are materially wrong in law.
And how much is this costing you?
Quite a lot, not only in terms of finances, but the personal cost and the weight of having to go through this for so long is immense. And there are so many families affected, families that have children and are suffering on a daily basis.
Have you got any sort of legal support from anyone?
I have an amazing legal team.
Yeah. But I mean, people helping pay for it, because it is a test case, really.
Yeah, well, we are looking at different routes for funding going into the next stage now, because it could, of course, incur more costs as it goes on.
And were you to lose, ultimately, would this mean that your husband would be kicked out of it?
I mean, at this point, no, because we actually were given a special status by the Home Office quite recently called LOTR, which is leave outside of the immigration rules, where they have granted him 5 years leave on the grounds of compassionate grounds. Now, we were quite grateful to get this. Obviously, it's a little bit of relief for us to have 5 years of stability at this point, but it doesn't take away from the fact that we still have to go back to court. They're still pursuing this case, and they're still doing it to many other families behind us.
And could you just, people might be puzzled, they might be saying, well, look, here's someone born in Northern Ireland, wants to stay in Northern Ireland, and yet doesn't want to identify with the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland. Could you just explain the thinking, why it's so important to you?
Well, I mean, identity is such a personal thing, Adam, and in Northern Ireland especially so. The Good Friday Agreement does say that we can all choose to be Irish or British or both, and all we're trying to do is cement that right to identify as Irish. I respect that Northern Ireland is part of the United Kingdom, and I have absolutely no problems with that. But for me, I'm an Irish citizen, and I just feel like that should be accepted under the Good Friday.
I mean, ultimately, would you like a United Ireland?
I mean, ultimately, yes, I would. But if there was a United Ireland, I would fight just as hard for anybody that has a British identity to hold on to that right, because equality is part and parcel of the Good Friday Agreement.
Okay, Susan, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.